Hey, this is Andy.
And I'm Pat.
Welcome to Two Mics No Masters, loud music, louder opinions. A conversation-driven podcast exploring punk, hardcore, metal, and underground culture as sound, ethic, and community.
Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters. Two minds, no masters.
Is this my voice? It sounds weird.
Do I actually sound like this?
Good Lord.
All right, cool. Yeah. So, how did we get started? We were talking about all the things. You know, we're all regular listeners. You know, when I say we all, the three of us at the time, in the beginning, are all regular listeners of various podcasts, and you know, we had our the things that we liked about each one, and the things that we thought were missing. You know, and so that's really where we started talking about. You know, wouldn't it be cool to talk to this person about this thing, or you know, our various friends that are, you know, in bands, talking to them about, you know, just their story, you know, get what it means to them, and this music that they play, and this scene that they've dedicated their life to, and you know, we went around and around and had a lot of laughs, and ultimately here we are. Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I keep coming back to our reason for doing this was really just to talk about the stuff that we like. You know,
Yeah.
sharing it with others, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
it got me thinking about, you know, what started me down this road to begin with. How did I get started with this type of music? It's not
Right.
pop music. It's not for your average person, I guess, your average Joe.
Right. You just didn't like pop the radio on and heard like, you know, whatever, some punk band in the 80s on a regular radio station driving in the car or something, you know?
No.
It's something that somebody introduced you to.
Yeah.
Usually someone older or something, or, you know, same age. Like, hey, check this out. My friend got this demo tape or something, and you hear it, it's like, obviously it's super crappy. And you're like, I like the music though, it's so good. You know, it's like, what is this? It's just so new. But it's like, usually it just grabs you, like, what is this sound?
Yes.
You know, it's so aggressive. It's so, just, the lyrics are different, which to me is huge.
Yes.
The lyrics are massive to me. But it just grabs you. And we always talk about the rabbit hole, and that is the biggest one ever. When you first, you want it all.
Yes.
After you hear like one thing and you're like, wait, there's more of this stuff? You want to like just be like, okay, you know, we're all probably younger when we started hearing this stuff, so we just want to lock yourself in a room and just absorb everything. You know, everything. And I mean, like, obviously we're dating ourselves, but it's true. Like, you wanted to listen to all the music, read all the lyrics, the thank you list, everything. You want to know all about bands. You know, that was a different time. You know.
Yes, it was a different time. I think, although our paths to getting here were slightly different, I think a common story is, you know, when I was real young, I essentially listened to whatever I was exposed to, which was a lot of what my parents were listening to at the time. You know, my mom was really into, like, you know, the Beatles, and that was her favorite. My dad was more of a Zeppelin and Sabbath type of dude. You know, there was some Hall & Oates. There was all
Nice.
kinds of these different influences. But
Yep.
when I first heard or discovered, and I can't even pinpoint the date. I'm not even going to try to say the year. It's not going to be hard for people to figure out. There were a couple of geezers,
Yeah, pretty much.
or not.
No. We're cool.
But I think it was a friend of mine who had sort of like a dubbed cassette, cassette of various bands. I think it was DRI, Black Flag, and Minor Threat. And those are really some of my earliest memories of punk. Circle Jerks, bands like that.
Yep.
Gangrene. I was fully immersed in skateboarding at that time. So, it was a lot of the bands that I was not only hearing from from friends,
Yep.
but reading about in Thrasher magazine.
Exactly.
And and then later on like skate videos and stuff was key in exposing me to a lot of stuff I hadn't heard before.
Yep.
And then, just like you said, I couldn't get enough. I just wanted to know about every band, and wanted to hear everything they've put out, or this band leads to this band. There's the classic, you're reading the liner notes, and
Oh,
this
yeah.
band gives a shout out to that band, and you're like, oh, I want to know more
Yeah.
about this band.
Who's that band?
Yeah. You see a picture of like, whatever band you're into, and they're wearing a T-shirt from another band, and now you want to know, well, if they like this band, and
Right.
what are they all about?
I think even like album covers too.
Yeah.
That looks so good.
Yeah.
So sick or something. I gotta buy that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Record labels. Even though that's done me wrong before. Like, oh, this record label, it's got to be good. I know, it's not.
No, not always.
It's
Yeah.
so
And same
bad.
thing with the album covers, the album art, or even the name of the band.
Yep.
You see it, you're like, that's such a sick name.
Yeah.
Then you get it home, and you're like,
Really?
not so sick.
Okay.
Yeah. Or album covers, especially when I first discovered death metal and stuff. I was like, this
yeah.
it's pretty sick.
I think back in the day, especially, like, death metal was so, like, because you and I, obviously, you're telling your story. You come from a completely different background than I do. I'm strictly, like, pretty much metal guy.
Yeah.
And you're, like, punk hardcore.
Yeah.
But back then, like, especially, like, late 80s, early 90s, like, you pretty much couldn't go wrong with death metal. It was like, oh, Florida death metal, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
It's true. Yeah.
So, I love, like, Malevolent Creation. Their first, like, 2 albums are just unbelievable. The styles, like, I feel like the styles that are popular now with quote-unquote death metal came from, like, those albums.
Yes.
They're so heavy. It's like, oh, my God. Even, like, the vocal styles and arrangements, like, yeah, that's literally Malevolent Creation, which is kind of like, even bands like Mongrel, they have sounds of them in their music, too, so.
Yeah, that's a good connection, that Mongrel record,
Yeah.
which was...
It's interesting, yeah.
It's a pretty killer record.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
bands like that, and I felt like it was music that was for me. You know what I mean? It was for me. These bands, like both my parents were into the Police, that band, the Police.
Yep.
Not the actual Police.
yeah, right.
Of course. And, a lot of it was just mainstream. Like a little maybe off the mainstream path, but still relatively mainstream, considered pop music. And so this type of music felt like it was for me. It was,
Right.
It was my, I don't want to say my own little secret, because it wasn't like it was unknown, but I connected to it in a way that I had never really connected to music before. And it just, that feeling has never really left, and it's sort of what has kept me engaged in this. And it's just grown, as I get older, my tastes get more refined.
Yep.
But they also get broader, I think. So I tend to explore different genres and only really kind of leave isn't the best word, but kind of walk away with just the pieces of that I like. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Like you said, I'm historically I lean more towards the hardcore and punk genres, but I have this love for metal that I just can't ignore. So it's a lot of, what we talk about here is rooted in hardcore, punk,
Yep.
and metal, and it's really, especially now, I think it's hard to separate those things.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I think too, a really cool point when you were talking about the Police and stuff like that. Maybe think of like Blondie and like Joan Jett and all those people. Those people are actually all rooted in punk.
Yes.
Which is kind of funny, A Billy Idol.
Yeah.
Like all these people that became huge, like have roots in like punk rock.
Yes.
Which I find fascinating.
I find fascinating too, and I didn't know again, it sounded like pop music to me.
Right.
That's what was on the radio. I didn't understand that it was rooted in punk. Blondie used to play at CBGB's.
I know, that's insane.
Yeah.
Like as a kid though, are you saying you didn't know that? Because I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, until later I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't.
Yeah.
And I dug a little deeper. I'm like, oh wow, because you kind of have like this. Well, I shouldn't say you, just me personally. My opinion is I always had this standoffish thing, like, oh, these people are popular, so they're, for one thing, they suck.
Yes.
And the music sucks. Blah blah blah. Like people that like them, just whatever, certain stupid young viewpoints. And you get older and you're like, oh yeah, Blondie's in this. Like I said, CBGB's and connected all these ways. And to us, CBGB's was like, I don't know, what we call it, the Mecca or whatever. It was like, oh my God, like Agnostic Front, Bad Brains, like
it's legendary.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like the bands that played there, So, but I guess it's kind of cool. Like it ties in like these popular bands, were deep rooted in like quote unquote the scenes of like hardcore punk.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah, I went through that phase too, where I just hated things because I thought I had to,
Right.
That's too poppy, or that's not this genre, or that's not that genre, and then I realized that a good song is a good song. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And I try not to limit myself. My musical tastes run the gamut, and it really depends on my mood. And what was, although I think there's some consistencies, stuff that I'm consistently drawn back to. Each year I've noticed that my favorite albums for the year really vary, obviously because it's different year and different releases, but also depending on where I am
right.
mentally or in my life at any given time.
That's true.
Which is one of the things I love about music.
Right. It's a huge connection
Yes.
to like mood, a time, a place.
Yes.
All those things.
And the ability to bring back memories,
Instantly.
like a scent or a flavor of food,
Yeah.
can instantly.
I think of certain people when I hear certain bands, like people I knew or
Yep.
friends or something. Like instantly, you hear like a certain riff or something or a band name, like oh, yeah, that person.
Yeah,
it's funny.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel that too. Yeah. So took us a while to get here, but we're here now.
Yep. Yeah, it took it slow because we want to do it right. We've rushed into too many things, I think, in life, probably both of us.
Yeah.
And it just never works out. So we want to be kind of like conscientious of what we're doing and, kind of work out somewhat of a game plan without being too rigid and just, give something hopefully that listeners can enjoy and be a part of. We're definitely going to focus on engagement going down the road moving forward. So be ready for that because we definitely want to hear from people. It's just not an us podcast. We want it to be whoever, with us. So
Yeah, exactly. It's about us sharing our love for this, not the podcast,
yeah, right.
but about the music.
Yeah.
And the conversations that go with it. We want to dig deep. We want to know and ask the questions that other people don't ask. Not the gotcha moments, the more the reasoning behind what people do. and you know, their history and their
Right.
their own timeline, what it means to them, and
Right, as people, because there's
yes.
we always think of bands as bands, and the band doesn't define the actual each individual in the band. It's like, okay, they're obviously their own person, so we want to find out what, like when we're speaking, hopefully, you know, when we get some guests on, we'll speak to them personally, obviously about band stuff, but also what drives you, what keeps you going, why are you in this band, you know, what's the reason, what led you to that, and all the inner stuff, mental health. I mean, literally all of it. We want to dig deep and ask real questions, because some of these people we're going to personally know, which makes it easier. But even people we don't, kind of like dig deep for their reasoning for it, like what we're talking about now. What was their reasoning for being into heavy music in the first place? And just what was their path, and where they are now, and how even their mentality, their mental health changed throughout the years, and their growth as a person.
Yeah, exactly. Well said, Andy.
Thanks.
And what makes them tick? That's what we want to know. We want to get to the bottom of that. And we also want to hear from our audience. We want people. We want to know. We want to know your thoughts. We want to know your feelings. We want to know. What your path. We want to know. What your bands are. Are we just a couple of jerks?
I mean, we know the answer to that.
Yeah. I mean, the answer is yes.
That doesn't have to be a poll.
Yeah, right. Exactly. We don't need a poll for that.
Yeah,
The answer is yes.
Ding, ding.
But,
Okay.
We want to hear from you, because this
Yeah.
is not just about us talking. It's about talking with you as a listener.
Like
Yeah.
what brought you to the podcast as well?
Yeah.
Like, why are you listening to this? You obviously had to get into music somehow, like
Yeah.
heavy music. So
Yeah.
we
It's
wanna-
not just the sick intro.
right. I mean, that's enough to make me want to do this podcast.
Totally. Yeah,
Seriously,
yeah.
you hear the
Sick.
intro, it's like, all right, we're in.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's what we're all about.
Yeah, and I think another point too is, like, when we say heavy music, that's gonna be bands like Into Another, Quicksand,
Yes.
Fugazi, Minor Threat, and also whatever, Slayer, all the thrash, brutal death metal, beat down hardcore death metal, whatever.
Yes, all of it. Yeah.
If it has somewhat distorted guitars, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the heaviest thing in the. It's not gonna do that stupid thing where who's the heaviest band? Who cares?
Yeah, I don't
I don't
care.
care at all.
I
It's
just
like
want to talk about stuff I like. I
Yep.
want to hear what other people like.
exactly because that's fun too, and that's another thing that we touched on the whole time is we're not going to agree on everything, and nor should we want to. So a lot of people are going to hear us be like, "I love this band," other people are going, "That band sucks."
Yeah,
We
totally.
just don't care for them, and that's fine. And we want people to disagree with us too. Like, I don't want people just to call in and be like, or comment on something we put on social media, like, "Oh yeah, we totally agree with you." It's like, no, tell us why you don't. Tell us about a band that we love. Wait, there's some bands that we absolutely love, think are the best ever, and someone's gonna be like, "Yeah, they're all right." Like, what are you talking about? But that's the beauty of music.
It is,
Taste.
and we have this conversation all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either one of us is afraid to say our opinions about things we like, but also the things we don't like. I tend to be very outspoken in that regard.
Yep.
You have a love for Volbeat. I do not.
We'll get into that later.
We'll get into that.
And
it's,
why?
It's not that I think they're a terrible band, because I'm not throwing shade at Volbeat. I think it's just I don't connect.
And that's what it is.
Yes,
I mean, there's no other explaining. It's like, I just don't connect with this band. I don't think their music hits me. It's like, all right,
that's right.
that's it.
It's not a value judgment at
And
all.
that's a great band to bring up, because there's a huge divide with Volbeat.
Yes.
So I can't wait to get into that.
Yes, and we are very much on the opposite ends of that divide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Which is great. We'll dig into that at another time. Hopefully, you're all still listening.
I just lost scene points for that.
You
but-
did lose scene points. Nobody's keeping track.
You sure? All right. Good.
Good.
First episode.
Yeah. already spiraling out of control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also want it. Like we listen, like Pat said, we listen to a lot of other podcasts and enjoy so many of them. They're great. I'm sure we'll drop names at some point in future episodes who we like. Not that they need any attention; they're huge. But we personally laugh a lot. We have a lot of good times.
Yes.
We've known each other for a super long time.
Yes.
So it's just easy to laugh and just make jokes and like just go off the rails because we both have ADHD.
Yes.
So it's gonna be that sometimes. It's gonna be talking about a serious topic or whatever, kind of going off the rails, and it's just gonna be mayhem for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. So just get ready for that too.
I mean, that's essentially a summary of our lives.
Pretty much.
I think.
Pretty much.
Just everything goes off the rails.
Yep.
It's chaos for a little bit, and then we're back on the rails.
And you're like, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So.
But that's sort of the nature of the music we listen to as well.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good point.
And a lot of it sounds like it could just go off the rails at any point.
Yeah.